Hi everyone, Kira Oliver with Cal-a-Vie Health Spa. I'm so excited about our guest today on our podcast. We have Louis Van Amstel. Did I pronounce that right?
Very close,
Okay.
Louis Van Amstel. Yeah.
Louis Van, oh, that's the Dutch way, right?
Yeah, because
I
most
always
do
said Van.
Van and then
Van
Amstel.
Van
Amstel.
Van
Amstel.
Van
Louis Van
Amstel.
Amstel. And we have Mary Murphy.
Mary Murphy.
Easy to say.
Yeah, right.
Eminem.
So a little bit about each of them, and then they're going to tell you way more. But Louis is Dutch, and we mentioned the Dutch American ballroom dance champ, professional dancer, choreographer. You've seen him with or on, I guess, Dancing with the Stars, right? When
10
was
seasons.
that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty phenomenal. And then he has created Le Blast, which I'm going to have him talk about in just a moment. We also have, yep, there we go. We have Mary Murphy. She is also a ballroom dance champion, accredited dance judge, and you know her from So You Think You Can Dance?
Dance.
Oh, yeah.
Dance.
Only what, 15 seasons?
16.
Wow.
16. We'll go, if we get called back this year, it'll be our 17th season.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. So we're actually, I want to dig into your story a little bit. Like, how did dance come into your life?
Well, that is an interesting story, and it's
How long
not
do you
really
have?
short. How long do you have? Because I had no real interest in dancing as a young child. I grew up in an area that was more like footloose, lots of religion, football, basketball, and baseball. And at that point in time, yeah,
Okay.
in
I'm
this
from
little
Tennessee,
small
so I get
town,
it.
the only thing that we were allowed to do was run track. And so my brothers ran track, 3 brothers. I was the 4th boy. I did everything they wanted to do. To be caught in rhinestones, makeup, a dress, that would never happen. In my own communion picture, I'm just like, because I had to wear a little white dress. And so it wasn't, I think like my senior year or junior and senior year, I was head majorette. And so that was the first time it gave me, and also I was in the plays in school, but that gave me a taste of what it was like to perform a little bit and also receive all the applause for that. So, you know, once I had to go out and do the major throw, and then at the end it was like, yes! And you know, when I achieved that, it was like, oh, that was awesome.
Is that where the scream was born?
Yeah, no, well, that was born in my house with football games. Let me tell you, my whole family screamed bloody murder at football. And we were very much into Ohio State and Cleveland Browns. And so that was just our way of life. Even my little Irish mother, who's about 5'2", would scream bloody murder. So years later, it was no surprise that when we see ballroom dancing, that's the only kind of sport that you kind of yell at and yell people's numbers at. When I yelled for the first time on the show, it was as if I came off the moon. And everybody the next week, are you going to yell for us, Mary? Are you going to yell for us? Are you going to yell for us? Are you going to yell for us? And I was like, I don't know. If I see something I like, would you laugh for us? I felt like a parrot sometimes with all the reporters. You know, it was so funny, but the yell went around the world.
Well,
But
wait, I
back
got to
to-
say, your laugh. Do you love your laugh?
Yes, well, thank you, because I'm sure it annoys some people.
And can I just verify that off camera, it's exactly the same.
I know all my friends have to put up with people asking, does she really laugh like that? And they say, well, she's holding it back for television a little bit, because I can if I get going, which I have before, and then you can't stop. But back to how did I get into dance is a fluke. I went to college to become a physical education teacher and was fully into that and wanting to be the best track coach in the world, and that's what I wanted to do. And then I had to take some electives, and it started with modern dance. So wow, that's kind of cool. Started doing modern dance, jazz, ballet. And then after I left and went to Washington, D.C., I was fully on intending being a teacher and walked into a ballroom dance studio for a summer job before I would start teaching. And 2 people saw that I possibly had talent and said, you need to see the United States Ballroom Championships. So I went to New York City, and at that time it was at the Waldorf Astoria. And I walked in. I've never been to the big city like that anyways, till Washington, D.C. And it was just like the movies. These 2 massive doors opened up. We walked in about 10 feet into the room. There was about 25 couples swooping, dancing across the floor and twirling, and they had lime and green and red, and all these colors were floating around. They had feathers, they had rhinestones, they had this massive makeup on, and I just was hit like a lightning bolt in a movie. I haven't even sitting down. I haven't not watched everything else. I just looked at the people that brought me, and I said, I'm going to be a professional ballroom dancer. I'm going to be a United States champion.
Oh, I love that. I mean,
It took me a long time, though, but I got there. I got there.
But isn't that...
I wasn't the most talented person in the gene pool there.
Isn't that, though, a huge part of it? It's deciding that you're going to do it?
I think so. I think so. And being around different, things in your life to, fall into, because when you're kind of in a limited place where you grow up and you don't have access or finances to anything, you don't know what it is that you may like until you kind of stumble upon it in a fork in the road. Do I be a school teacher, or do I go after that? But there was no question in my mind. I was going after it. My parents were very upset, and my father did not talk to me for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And if there was any conversation, he made me feel very guilty about the fact that I may be, that I am not educating children. And later, he came to grips with, and he said, you're not going to make enough money. And I said to him, I don't care. I don't care whether I make money or not. I said, I'm going to dance. And I'm going to keep on dancing until I figure out a way that I can make a living out of this.
Did that make you work harder?
Yeah, absolutely. It made me work harder.
But I think it's easier too when you know you want something. The desire and the passion are the drive, rather than the parents and the peer pressure is the drive. You can do it for a long time, but how many people have a midlife crisis? I don't think it's for any other reason than for so long you pleased the world. Now it's time for me, but why wait until your 40s?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
or trying to please your parents. Like I've heard a million stories of people like I started playing the guitar and loved it at the age of 40, but I did this for my parents because I was expected to be a doctor. I was expected to be an engineer. That's a history line of this in my family. And then there's people that their souls are dying inside.
Yes.
If I was just lucky enough, I felt I was probably about 21 or 20 when I found dance. And I was just lucky enough that I stumbled upon it. And I have 3 brothers. Me and my older brother loved what we did, and I watched my 2 other brothers suffer, that they worked their entire life and retired with a job that they absolutely hated. Yeah. And they just stay in their homes. They have not seen the world. They have not gone out of the state of Ohio. And they just, and that's just their life. And to hear them talk about how much they hated their jobs, I just felt so sorry for them. And at the same time felt so blessed for myself, right, that I found dance and found something that I truly had a passion for. I ran my whole young adult life, and the reason why I never would have made it to the Olympics or continued at a high level in college is because I was talented at it, and that was the only thing I had access to. But I realized I didn't go any further, and I could have, but I always just did enough to do well, right, but never to go to the Olympics. Or I didn't have I realized I don't have a passion for this. I'm doing it only because my brothers did it and I didn't know what else to do. And so when you have a passion, you can put up with being in a car ride for 18 hours, getting ready in a rest area and going in and teaching all day, or go someplace and perform. Make your costumes.
Right. So,
have car engines blow up in the middle of the night in snowstorms in Germany,
I love that.
Put up with that because that is your passion and you're willing to do what it takes to get there. Yeah.
At what point did you realize, whoa, this is like really happening? Like, was there something significant that happened?
As far as going forward in a professional career? Yeah. There was no, I was going from the get-go. From the day that I got back from New York, I researched quickly and saw who were the best instructors at the time, and that was Nancy and Joe Jenkins. They were the first Americans to ever place 3rd at the World Championships and at Blackpool. That's just never happened before in those days. And so I started studying with them. and then started moving across country and seeing who this person is and that person. Back then, you have to realize we didn't have access to the videos, to the, a lot of choreography. We all made it up ourselves, laughing and giggling and carrying on till 3 o'clock in the morning choreographing. And didn't have the luxury of a lot of these kids now. They have coaching every single day.
Yeah,
they are taking
and the internet. There's so much accessibility.
And there's so much going on in the internet, and so many people you can watch them. And hey, pinch a move here, pinch a move there. But most of them rely totally on coaches now to do their choreography. Nobody is really truly, for the most part. I think it made us more creative back then because we had to make up. You have to. We had to make up stuff ourselves. These kids now, they don't take a single step without somebody saying that's okay.
Well, one of those kids. One of those kids.
There's that. All right, so Louis, tell us a little bit about your story. How did you know?
You get a condensed version.
Okay.
Because you'll be, maybe not bored out of your mind, but we're sitting for an hour. So I was 10 years old when I started ballroom dance and other forms of dance. So my parents and grandparents, if you will, completely different from Mary. Mine were the ones that decided I needed to dance for social purposes. Later moving to the United States, I realized in the United States you learn cotillion for etiquette, to how to, have manners. So it started as a social dance class, but like Mary, me too. I was told, you go to dance, it's good for you. Okay, you think it's good for me? I go. In hindsight, the first few years, I realized why I didn't oppose and why I actually secretly liked it was dealing with what happened at my house, which, with addiction, alcoholism, fighting with parents and all that. This was my way of expressing myself, and the world didn't need to know. Because the embarrassment or the people will not accept you. So for a long time it was therapy. Everyone else thought it was for social purposes, but I started realizing, I can be creative. Now you had it with applause, suddenly that gives you a new feeling. So when you do these social dance classes once a week, at the end of the season, there was a test. And I won. I got a gold medal. I liked that feeling. And I still didn't have to talk, but something inside of me said, well, you like this because you won. Well, it wasn't really because I was winning, but it helped my self-confidence.
Sure.
So then we did competitions, and then by 15, I knew this was going to be my life. Because now we were competing on a weekly basis and winning competitions, growing. Now I had 14 partners in my life, which is a lot, But, our sport we have to do with someone else. So it's not just about the dance anymore. You have to have the same passion, you have to have the same drive, because you're on that floor 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then you start traveling internationally. So
and if it's something slightly different, one person has a little bit more drive towards it. It just never works. You have to be on that
it was hard to have that many partners.
Well, I just went. We both are very similar. But if it doesn't work, why keep trying?
That's right.
Move on. But with me, what happened was, I'm from Holland, small little country. We never had any champions. So my coach, however, was in the final. He had a British dance partner. And then he said, it's time for you to look abroad. So it was 15 and a half. School was until 16. You have to go to school. It's mandatory. Well, my principal decided to, you know what? On paper, I'm going to keep him in school. But since he's talented and this could be a career move, he gave permission. He put his job on the line. So fast forward a few partners. By 19, I had my third British partner, Julie Fryer. And that's when my career took off. That was boom. We made finals everywhere. And we were in the World Championship final, 3rd and 4th in the 10 dance, then in the final of Latin. So euphorious. And then in 1992, when I was 20, I felt so pushed and so much peer pressure because now we were the champion of our country in the final of the world. Everyone wants you. And we went to Japan, China, all over Europe. I mean, everywhere. So I should be thankful. And I was unhappy. All my friends, oh, we went out and we went to the movies and da-da-da. And it was the Oprah Winfrey interview with Michael Jackson that he pretty much had no life since Ben. When that song came out, since then he had no private life. Now, I am no Michael Jackson. I don't have the fame. But something triggered me that I said, I don't want that kind of life. So I decided to stop. It was 1 week before the European Championships and 2 weeks before Blackpool, which is our biggest competition, bigger than the World Championships. Yeah. Because anyone can join. At the World's only the first two couples of the countries can join. That has changed now. Yeah, well,
all the World Championships before, it used to be like an honor to be the number one, number two from each country. And now it's
luckily we were part of that time when you had one world champion a year. So, but everyone said your career is over, forget it. But I knew what I didn't want. I needed to figure out what I wanted. So I went to the academy because I did the other forms of dance. So I went to the academy in Amsterdam and they took me in. After 3 months, I went to see a dance competition. And I saw my coach after that, who I'm giving you the condensed version. My partner was really upset with me. My coach was really upset with me. But after 3 months, he said, yeah, it's been okay. And I see you're happy now. But now you have to get back. And I knew then when I saw that competition, it was in my DNA. I had to get back. But now I knew what I wanted. Right. It was on my terms. And no one was going to tell me if we want to do a competition, great. If we don't, it's our choice. We're the ones who have to perform. So, end of 1993, my partner and I got back together again, condensed version. She had a new partner, didn't work out. We got back together. And then within a year, we became world champion. Wow. Against all odds, because people said your career is over. And that's when we said, what? It ain't over until we say it's over. And people said it's not going to happen. Oh, and that's when you have that drive because you now do it because you wanted to, not because it just all happened so fast. And then people push you, well, you have to do that. Well, because you went to Germany, now you have to go to Austria. If you don't go there. And I thought, it's up to us, not up to you, not up to the organizers, not up to the judges. So we became world champion. And then we repeated it because we thought, well, 1 year champion is great, but it could be a fluke. People could say, well, you were lucky. Well, let's prove them wrong. So again, the year after we were world champion, then we turned pro. And then we decided, well, let's go for show dance. And that year we became world champion show dance. And then I felt like, wow, we had a real good career. Much faster than we all anticipated. 3 years back to back, boom, boom, boom. And then I think I shouldn't have gone to New York in that year because I fell in love and I told my partner, I want to move. I want to leave my country behind. And I did. And now I'm here, 24 years.
Well, you did what you wanted yet again.
Oh, yes. Right. And that became the mission on Dancing with the Stars. Not season one. Season one, no one knew. In 2005, I had Trista Sutter, and I loved her. But none of us knew how this show would be accepted. I came in as this coach, like I want results, and then realized, oh, these are celebrities that have never done this, and we have to kind of, cool off and be kind and take it. So then I had Lisa Rin in season 2, and that was really when my TV career took off. And I realized, wait a minute, all these years of being told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and then to just say no to it all. And then to come back and say, well, now I'm doing it on my terms. I felt that would be a really powerful message to tell the celebrities. And then with Kelly Osbourne in season 9, that was the ultimate, for me, the ultimate test to say you do it at your pace. You're Kelly Osbourne. You're no one else. Don't try and fit in. Be you. And that was the beginning of this young woman blossoming. And then I started Le Blast in 2010, and that became the mission of Le Blast. Physically, mentally, emotionally, you are in control, but one affects the other. So, and then when I came here to Cal-a-Vie for the first time, it was a marriage made in heaven, because it's your statement. You want to come here and physically, mentally, emotionally dive into you. And walk away, go back home, feeling renewed, re-energized. And I love coming here because of that same reason. And doing dance fitness, doing ballroom dance in a dance fitness version, partner free, it has affected me because I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm turning 50 and I feel I'm in better shape than when I competed as a ballroom dancer in my 20s. So it really is.
And so La Blast that's a huge part of what you're involved in right now.
It's my life.
That is your life.
It's my life. I wake up with it. We do live streaming. We do on demand. I travel before coming here for Dance Week at Cal-a-Vie. I came from Minneapolis, Baltimore, Pennsylvania, New Jersey to do La Blast and to be with the instructors that teach La Blast in their city. And we have master trainers that are going, they're not always happy with me because I want quality. If they're not physically, mentally, emotionally involved, and I feel they're trying to have shortcuts, a master has no shortcuts. So we're sometimes hard on people because we're kind of hitting the nail on the head. But then when they realize, oh, this is for me, this is actually for my benefit, people are willing to dive deep. And that's why I love here at Cal-a-Vie.
Well, I love that you're comparing that because that is super important. And, you know, if we kind of look around and realize that what we learn can be applied in other parts of our lives, everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's just huge. And that, you know, you're talking about Kelly and how you helped her to see this is for you. This is your thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have these pretty phenomenal experiences as well. I'm curious to know so you think you can dance, like how do you see that playing out in terms of helping people understand that this is about them?
Well, I think this show was so completely different, and that even in the dance world itself, it brought the other dance styles more together, and also created an appreciation for the different dance styles. Because there's always been this kind of, the ballet world's up here and they look down at the ballroom dancer looked down at the hip hop dancer, you know, and there was kind of this chain that always was kind of just known, you know. And then once the ballet dancers started doing hip hop, it was like, whoa, okay, this is really difficult. And they couldn't grab or grasp it completely, but they tried to do it, and vice versa with all the different styles. So that part of it was really kind of interesting and started a phenomenon around the country where people were telling me that they sit down with their families and they watch it, and then their husband was dragged into watching it, but after a few episodes he was like, okay, Mary's gonna say they didn't point their toe right there. Oh no, they're gonna go on the hot tamale train over here. And they started learning, it taught them, because we did everything in slow motion, and when we were explaining something too, we were training people more about our art, the different art forms of dance. And the fact that different numbers and the topics that we would tackle as far as breast cancer and addiction and abuse and hard topics through dance without even talking, and having millions of people write in that this made them touch them, it made them cry. People wrote in and said, you know, you helped me get through cancer. The fact that it affected people and that you were able to affect people through dance in 1 minute and 30 seconds to me was just mind-blowing. And I knew early on that we were onto something very, very special, in not only in dance, but just affecting people that have nothing to do with dance, and letting them know how spiritual doing something like this can be, and how it can save your life, and how many people, and it saved my life. You know, I was in a very abusive relationship, and when I was wanting to dance, I was not allowed to. And every time he would leave the country, I would run into a dance studio and I would, you know, dance again. And then he saw when I came back that I was really into this. He would move me into another remote area where there was no dance going on. And then he would move me again, and to the point where every time when you're being physically abused, you know, your self-esteem is so low, especially when somebody is beating you that is somebody that you love. It immediately drastically lowers. And through dance, it started to bring myself, every time he'd leave, it brought my self-esteem back up a little bit. And you also feel so ugly inside when you're going through something so horrific. It all comes back on you, and you think you're not good enough for anything or could do anything. And so through dance, it got me out of that to the point that I was strong enough to jump out of a window one night, got in a car, and drove across country by myself with $2,000 in my pocket.
Thank goodness you found the strength to file for divorce.
Yeah, well, it wasn't easy. I
No,
still
I
went
know.
back 2 more times after I drove across country. But every time, the longer I was away, the stronger I got. And finally to that point that, no, I know what this was like. This is, you know, it was always a big makeup, just like you hear. If somebody does it once, it happens again. And I said, I'll never do it again. And it just continues to repeat. And once you can like feel that you're safe enough, that was another thing, you know, being threatened with your life if you leave, and that you're going to be homeless constantly. I think I really owe my life to him, to thank him, because it taught me to be strong. It taught me to work hard. It taught me I never wanted to be under that situation ever again in my life, and I haven't been.
And no means no.
And no means no.
This is so beautiful. I appreciate you being so vulnerable. You as well, you know, and just expressing that you were going through some things when you were younger, difficult situations. Dance helped both of you. I'm really grateful that you share this, because I think we need to make sure that message is out there to everyone else. And I want to maybe ask you to inspire that a little bit more. With COVID and everything that's been going on, people are so challenged right now. It's not just about the COVID-19 pounds or whatever. It's so much deeper. And what I also want to point out is that it's always been deeper. A lot of people haven't realized that. You know, for us to be whole, it's not just the one thing or the other.
Many people dance is just happy, but it's not. Dance can be used, well, to become happy. It's such a great vehicle to explore the emotional self. When you go to a gym, what do? You work on your physical self. You look in the mirror, you want to always change your physical self. But we should actually not do that. We need to look in the mirror and am I happy with who I am?
Yes.
And work on that. And dance does that. And particularly, I've choreographed on So You Think You Can Dance, and I love all forms of dance. Besides hip hop, I did every other form of dance growing up. But with ballroom, within the ballroom industry, we have so many dances. We have just, in 4 categories, we have 20 dances, or 19 to be exact. And then we have all the social dances, hustle, salsa, West Coast swing.
Tango.
They are from different countries. They're different cultures. So when we say ballroom dance is so diverse, because we have African American dances, Afro-Brazilian dances, Latin dances, ballroom dances from Europe. We have Paso Doble, which is from Spain, but the flamenco comes from India. We pretty much cover the whole world. And this is all these cultures. We can all, whatever color we are, we can explore all that. And in my classes, Le Blast or competitive, we're trying to make everyone dive into that character of the dance and then explore that. Because sometimes if you are a white boy from Europe, I might be good at the quick step because I'm European, but I should be horrible at Brazilian samba. But if you kind of take all that label away and dive in, then it's so much fun. And that's what I love pushing the ladies and gentlemen here at Cal-a-Vie when they come in all like proper or loaded with opinions, or I ain't doing that, and then half an hour in, I take all these labels away.
Yeah.
You kind of demand them, and by the end, everyone is working hard, no matter what the social status is.
Yeah, I love that, because it's almost like a form of meditation, so to speak, too, getting into your own space and just being comfortable with that.
Comfortable enough to explore yourself.
Yeah.
And be vulnerable, because it's a workout. Being vulnerable is harder than pushing a shoulder press with 10 pounds.
Wow.
That's easy, because it's just physical. But to actually get vulnerable, because everyone is afraid of what comes out. But then when it comes out, you can let it go, and then it's gone.
It's okay. So
It
now I gotta
sounds
ask:
I leave refreshed.
Can you teach anybody to dance?
Anyone.
Yes.
Okay, anyone.
Anyone.
If you can walk, we can teach you.
I love that so
You have
much.
to get out of your head, because we think we can't, and that will then be the drive. And I think on Dance with the Stars, I've had a few celebrities where I had to prove that point. Anyone can dance. Because Kelly Osbourne is one of the, when I met her at Ozzy and Sharon's house, she had platforms and 3-inch heels on. Standing up straight was an issue. But she is so vulnerable in that sense and strong. She tells that about herself. The whole world can, she's so honest about that. I can't do this, I can't do that. And that was on me then to say, can you stop saying that? You can. but you have to believe. First thing is you need to believe. It's not you have to think I can. No, you have to believe that you can, because then you will.
Yeah,
And
that is
really,
beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so if we want to dance, I mean, obviously we can get involved in the blast. We can watch the shows. I mean, what do you recommend as for someone out there that's watching that's like always wanted to dance, but they really have no idea what to do? Where to go?
Well, first and foremost, come to Dance Week here at Cal-a-Vie.
Oh yes, absolutely.
With yours truly. Well, with the blast, we have an on-demand program, which, by the way, I want to share. That was never an intention. When the lockdown happened in March 2020, right? Or even, 2020. And we sat down in the office and we said, we got to go live. We got to do this because people are going to be going nuts. We said some more things, but I'll stick with nuts. And we went live stream with the blast 5 days a week for free because it wasn't about business. This was about, we're in this together. It's a world pandemic. And when we go live, we can have Europe. We had people from Asia, Australia, all of Europe join in. And then when things looked like we're going back up or back to normal, that was wishful thinking. Then we said, well, this Friday is the last one. We got angry emails. Please don't stop. Please don't stop. I can't believe you stopped. I would pay for this. And that's when we started on-demand program. We have 3 memberships. We have live streaming on demand. We have 5 master trainers that are streaming from their homes in their states. And so that would be lablastfitness.com if you want to join us.
Okay, that's LABLAST Fitness. There we go.
Lablastfitness
is a blast.
.com.
.com.
Or you come to San Diego to
Champion Ballroom Academy.
Oh,
12,000 square foot facility down in San Diego. I have 3 ballrooms and I've had a dance studio here for 33 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, so how can they find that? How do they get in touch with you?
They can go to championballroom.com.
championballroom.com. You guys need to check them out. You need to make sure you're watching all the shows, everything. Just get into it. I mean, we just heard that, so-and-so's husband who knew nothing about dance fell in love with watching. I mean, it's all the things, right? And get involved because it can truly change not just your physical fitness, but your mental fitness. And we really have to take care of that too. I want to thank you both for being here.
So where do people go if they want to come to Cal-a-Vie?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, let's
well,
not forget.
let's say that. Yeah, so you can Cal-a-Vie.com. It's CAL-VIE.com. Go on the website, give us a call. We would love to see you here. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.